What's going on, everybody? Welcome to your weekly astrology forecast for the week of January 10th through the 16th of 2022. Astrologer Brian Scarborough here, fixed air moon, keeping the collective fixed on astrology. Well, I do hope you had a great weekend. I hope that your first full week of 2022 is off to a great start and going in the direction that ultimately you're wanting to see. You know, this is the mountain of Capricorn that we're climbing here, and we got a lot of Capricorn cycles in the background. So this Capricorn season, it can feel heavier or, like a bigger push than ever before for certain things that you want to achieve, accomplish, build, create. A lot of destiny stuff, a lot of inner, I know I have to get here. I know this is what I want. And especially with a Venus retrograde, of course, which we've been dealing with, this is internalizing our value system about our accomplishments so that we can make the right relationships for those, so that we can have the right ways to generate income, or what the value system for the top of the mountain that we're ultimately sculpting. So it's almost like we're not only hiking and climbing a mountain, but we're also kind of sculpting where the future is going to go. And I think that this is like a definitely an important week here, as the sun's going to cross over, the 22 mark of Capricorn, which was where Saturn and Pluto met. Venus just crossed over that for the second time. Venus is in retrograde. It's going to go back to 14 degrees. There's a lot of Neptune action. We start off the week with a Mars-Neptune square. We get a Sun-Neptune sextile. We are going to get a T-square midweek with the Moon, Mars, and Neptune. So, it can almost feel like disillusionment is necessary for breaking chains that we are bound to, so that we can kind of set ourselves free in some ways to reach the highest of highs, to reach the highest point in our lives. So it's a very interesting week just from the standpoint of Capricorn season. Definitely here, final week of Capricorn, we're in the third decan of Capricorn with the sun. It can feel like, wow, I still have to keep going. And it's funny too, it's the beginning of the calendar year. So it's like, yeah, there's a lot more to keep going for. So we don't want to feel like we're stuck, or like the weight of the world, or just the density of reality is too much. This is definitely where we can break illusions about what too much is and what the ultimate goals are, what the ultimate, purpose is. Capricorn's your purpose too. So I think many people are in a place right now of breaking chains and disillusionment of what that purpose can be and how to get there. So it's very special in that. But there's also this sense of illusionment that ultimately by the end of the week, as the sun meets with Pluto, there's not going to be, anything that we've been hiding or suppressing or pushing under the rug. In terms of what our greatest sort of direction up the mountain is, those are going to come out. So this week is a very powerful week as we get a Sun Pluto to close it off on Sunday. I look at Pluto as a magnet. So when you think of a magnet, it has two sides that'll suck together, of course, very powerfully. If you flip one magnet around, the positive and negative aren't lined up. You get negative, negative, you get positive, positive. So we're finding, what our deepest compulsion is and what the magnetic attraction to things are that are aligned with destiny, that are aligned with mission, that are aligned with purpose, highest character, integrity. These are not going to be able to, just be pushed under the rug. Like I mentioned, the sun's going to illuminate all of these very deep embedded, a lot of it's subconscious desires. And we're going to see what we're really pulled towards, what we're really pulled away from, or pushed away from, I should say. So there's definitely a lot of push and pull this week that we might be stumbling upon. And a lot of it's going to be inward with Venus retrograde and having to make, these are big decisions. These are grown-up adult decisions in Capricorn season. However, this manifests for you, it's definitely about making the most mature decision in your life to move in a direction that you are most attracted to. This is also a time where we can obsess over things. So this is not a time to obsess over the toxic relationships. This is not a time to obsess over anything toxic in your life. This is a time really to purge and push away what is of toxicity in life, what is under the surface bubbling up. It's almost like, I feel like resentment. If you are feeling resentment towards something in life, are you really attracted towards it? Or like what is, and what's the key root cause of the resentment? And can that get a light shined on it so that it can be released, surrendered to, set go of? Can that be maybe the fuel in some sense of what does break the chains of illusionment, so that you can have hopefully a very powerful disillusionment that's helping you reach further, reach higher, farther? These are things that are going to be important. We're going to see a lot of energy moving forward this week. This is where we're going to see Jupiter is at a shadow period. We're in, Jupiter is in Pisces and it's ripping, and we're going to get a lot of new insight. And this is definitely helping us open up and give us more compassion, more love, more surrender. This is like following God's divine will in many ways. So you're getting that all the time from source, from God. And it's about making decisions that are in alignment with that purpose and really seeing how every little decision is connected to the whole. And whatever you want your whole to be, whatever that is to you, in our unique value systems, with Uranus in Taurus, having us definitely take a higher road to our individuated value systems and to try different things in an unstable reality. It's almost fair game. Like, there's so much, like, anything is possible in reality. And the more you can kind of open up to that wholeness of that situation, the more that God's going to kind of show you where to go and how to take yourself higher and how to manifest in new ways, unique ways that maybe you never thought possible. Maybe that's part of the disillusionment too that we're going through, is realizing, oh my gosh, yeah, I can manifest this. I didn't have that epiphany moment until this week. We're going to have Mercury station retrograde this week. So we're going to have a Venus retrograde, a Mercury retrograde, and Mercury's going to station in square to Uranus at 10 degrees of Aquarius, Uranus 10 degrees of Taurus, getting ready to station and come direct on the 18th, with the nodes getting ready on the 18th to also ingress into Taurus Scorpio. So this is like a big it's a big value check, and it's having the wherewithal to take in the insight that you're getting and to also make mature decisions, because Uranus and Mercury in square could definitely have some very like lightning quick, insights or genius come through, but there's also something there that could have us be a little bit too impulsive, a little bit too like, I can fix anything this way. I figured it out. I have the ingredients and this is the experiment and I know it's going to work. And that could absolutely be true, but there's also like you kind of have to follow a little bit of your unique recipe to get it done. Now, they're not going to make the exact square by the minute, but they're going to be within a degree for this. So we don't actually get the full ping, if you will, like the full ping from the higher antenna of Uranus. So it's interesting. I feel like we're just missing sort of exactly what we're looking for to kind of like, I don't know, accelerate us towards something we've never seen before. But it's almost like right there, because I feel like this square is actually forcing some of the most brilliance when it comes to our way to engineer reality and to be our kind of an architect for a reality. I think that this is very special. People can feel crazy. They can feel like, oh my gosh, am I crazy for this? And I want you to know you're not crazy. As I set up a camera in a weird angle, we're not crazy. We're doing things a little bit differently. Going with the flow is the gift with Jupiter in Pisces too. You have to kind of surrender. You have to kind of give it up. And when you do, that insight comes in, that beauty and that magic shows up, and you can start to see where that's going to go. So don't think you're crazy if you have some wild insights this week that are trying to make your life better, because Uranus on an individual level here in Taurus is absolutely trying to make our lives better. It's trying to show us that we have everything we do need in our individual genius to create. And especially as we're getting ready for this year to have a North Node meet with Uranus, this is a big deal. This is definitely unlocking, it's almost like sky's the limit. Uranus is the god of the skies, the god of the heavens. Like, the heavens are kind of opening up right now for people to make different choices, take different routes than they've taken before. And I think for the people that are willing to take that route, if they feel an inner magnetism towards it, like this deep compulsion, and maybe not knowing why the compulsion exists, you don't almost have to be conscious of it. You just have to kind of let that get you to the Garden of Eden here, get you to the things in life that you really want, to the beauty that you really want to create. And I think that that's a lot. It's a lot about what this week is, and it's shining a light on those deeper things, and it's really going back into your environment, especially with a Mercury retrograde. This comes back into you, your mind, reevaluating these steps that we've crossed over the last couple months, getting our heart and our mind caught up with what we want to be ultimately attracted to. But we also have to not just obsess over things. So this is where we're at an impulse here, if you will, of reevaluating our values, our money, our decisions, reevaluating our genius, our connectivity to people, to our communities, to everything close to us, and making sure that it is of the most attractive elements in our life, that is of a high character right now for each and every one of us on an individual level. So just because one person has a high character achievement of, whatever they want, that's unique to them, doesn't mean that, we all have to go that route, or that, we have to hold some kind of guilt because they're doing something different than us. This is really getting back to yourself. And I think you have to put your attention on yourself with a Mercury retrograde, as always. What is it that you really want to put your mind towards? What is it that you really want to, especially with Aquarius, like what kind of things are you trying to fix? What kind of genius are you trying to go after? What are you trying to connect to fully? So we could have, be kind of reevaluating all these great epiphanies that maybe we've already had, all these great ideas, and trying to make sure if they're just the full connection. Saturn's also going to come out of shadow this week too. And Pluto's going to come out of shadow next week. So we have a lot of energy going in a new direction here this week. And we're going to start to see sort of where 2021 and the decisions we made got us, and what that point is within ourselves, so that we can create a life that, I'll be honest, North Node coming into Taurus, this world is a playground. This world is beautiful. This world is everything you could ever want it to be. And the South Node in Scorpio is it's gonna test you to believe that. It's gonna test you to stay in that truth. And to not think that it's just some fear-mongering, hateful, scary place. Like, this place is a playground. And I think I mentioned that last week, but this is a time to really embrace the paradise that we do live in. Because it's almost like getting your mind here with the North Node at 0 degrees of Gemini, getting your mind just so ready to create the life that you desire. And this is a time where immense power can be found within ourselves to transform to transform whatever the trajectory up is. Whatever that is for you, that feels like it's aligned and magnetized and strong and connected. It's like sky is truly the limit in a time like this. And you have to go inward to really see that and believe that, and within your own environment too. So as things are changing and decisions have been made, or maturity is, creeping up in these times to kind of set the course, just make sure that you're setting the course for something that is of your greatness. And it doesn't have to be of anybody else's greatness. It doesn't have to be of society's greatness. This is individualized greatness. So something that you feel the greatest pull towards. Sun, Pluto, Mercury retrograde, Venus retrograde. There are people that are going to be reevaluating their entire life. If we haven't already evaluated our entire life over the last 2 years and the direction that it's going, especially over the last year, this is, another checkpoint on that. So we're at this very crucial checkpoint of the direction that we're ultimately trying to go and achieve in life. You can find so much power in your own security within yourself. And it's just not a time to think that you need security from anything else. The more you find and build security within yourself, you're going to realize the potential and power you wield is just on another level. Just on another level. I think that this week holds a lot of magic because people are going to go inside and just really stop playing a game that they don't want to play. This is almost like, reminds me of like game over. That is game over in my life. I'm done. I'm out. I'm not restarting. I'm starting over here. Like that it ran its course. I either finished it, I've played it 1,000 times, I've beaten it 1,000 times, I'm bored, or that game's not even fun and I don't want to play it anymore and I just got this new game. It's kind of funny using games. I started playing video games again over the last week, especially with Sterling. So it's been kind of fun. But let's not waste our time playing any games in life that we don't ultimately desire. This is a great checkpoint on moving towards the desires in your life that light you up, that make you feel powerful, that make you feel connected, relationships that are connected. I tie Pluto very much to relationships. I'll be honest, especially with it being a co-ruler or a ruler in Scorpio. Like this is the greatest merger. So there's obsessive elements around people and what we need from people, what we desire from people, what our intimate relationships are like, especially with Scorpio energy. So we have to pay, close attention to all the desires especially with our intimate connections. And a lot of it's about removing and shining a light on anything toxic that just has to be purged. And that purge is going to show you so much creative potential because there's so much out there. There's so much more. Like we'll get so stuck sometimes. And Pluto's a good reminder that when you get stuck, there's a change and a transformation. And there's something beautiful that can blossom and bloom from, destructive elements. Now, I don't mean necessarily destructive like we got to blow things up, but destructive is in, things kind of deteriorate over time. Nothing lasts forever. So at this point, too, we could also be building very strong structure and illuminating a path of, what is being built fresh and beautiful in life and what is just slowly deteriorating. And I think we have to be really honest with ourselves about what's deteriorating because, like I said, with the disillusionment stuff, if we're going to stay in an illusion that something that's clearly crumbling in front of our lives, and we're just going to say, no, it's fine, no, it's fine, no, it's fine, no, it's fine. Like that's when, you feel the wrath of Pluto. That's when it shows you very, very quickly. And Pluto doesn't play really like games about disillusionment. Like Neptune will play games with us. Neptune will keep showing up like, oh, it's fine, over and over again. Pluto's just like, it's not fine. It's black and white. So we could be having some of these epiphanies, some of these, radical thoughts of like, oh my gosh, this is not fine because I deserve so much better. Because I can create so much better. And that's where we can put so much great action and great oomph. As God's trying to pave us a very magical road. I think that Jupiter in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces is absolutely beautiful, and we should really use this energy to follow where God's trying to take us. And it takes a surrender to that. So anything in life that's showing up that doesn't feel like it's ultimately beautiful, lighting you up from a spiritual perspective, giving you more spiritual wisdom in some way, but you feel like it's just kind of sucking you dry, stressing you out, holding you back from a stronger connective presence in your life. These are where that is the surrender, right? To be like, wow, yeah, I can't just follow these, I can't just keep the rose-colored glasses on any longer. Like, this has to change. And I think the more accepting we are of change, the better. And I know people are like, change. Change is the only constant in life. And I want to remind you of that. So as I'm saying this all the time, people are like, well, I'm comfortable. But are you really, or is it just an illusion that we've created for ourselves that actually we're not super stoked about or happy about, that we don't have a deep soul resonance with? And this is the week where that can kind of like all purge out, which I think is a great thing, because the more that we do take those rose-colored glasses off and see reality for exactly what it is, because there's something about that too with this Venus retrograde, the sun in Capricorn, Mercury's going to come back into Capricorn. Like, we have to see it as it is, you know, so that we can create changes or better or something beautiful. You know, how are you creating your Garden of Eden? This is an important week to, I think, get to the bottom of that. And I'm looking at Friday's chart right now, and you know, we are going to get a Mars this week in semi-square to Saturn. So, you know, I think that's going to kind of help us, but we're also getting Mars coming off the squares to Neptune. So this is definitely a time of dedicating to wherever, you know, the spiritual cleanse in life needs to be taking place. And we don't want to turn a blind eye, or have that be a blind spot of what we need to move towards. Because Mars in Sag can definitely, you know, be very strong on its beliefs and very strong on this is the way. And Neptune's like, are you sure? God's like, are you sure that's the way? We have to remember that North Node in Gemini and that polarity point of Gemini in general, and make sure that we're seeing all angles. We're definitely going back and forth. We're looking at two sides of the story here, because there's always another angle. There's always another perspective. So it's good to be dedicated to a belief and to be strong in that, but you have to be able to see the truth of the matter on another side too, and then come to a conclusion based on whatever that debate is with yourself or with another person about what's going to be best. So it could be, you know, I would say it's a very strong week for seeing the truth of the matter, and having, you know, God brought that to us in many different ways, especially over the last couple weeks, especially last week and last weekend, and starting this week off. We got cleansed for something great, to create unbound potential on this journey. But there's things that, you know, aren't of that truth that we still play games with. And that's what comes in the strongest, is like we're still, like, we see it. There's so much of the illusion has, you know, evaporated, or it has dissolved, so that there's very real substance in front of us. But we're still playing a little bit of a game that isn't letting the full creative, unbound potential to manifest. And I use that word kind of loosely, but to create life in a way that matches your genius, your intellect, you're the more people realize how much they can create for themselves right now, and not be scared of new creation, or be scared of their own value system and how to create based off of that. Oh man, you're going to see your story is just getting started. The potential for how big it can be and how powerful it can be for you, and not powerful over other people, but powerful for the life that you want to live. Whoa. So it's very exciting. And yeah, we don't get a full moon this week. We actually get it Monday, the 17th. So interesting week. I always find these weeks are interesting when we don't have like a big, like last week, of course, we started off with a new moon. And then usually the following week we kind of like finish off or start off with, you know, every 2 weeks. So it just kind of works out that way. Usually we get a lunation, but there isn't this week. But we get very close. And remember that Monday's full moon is going to be conjunct Pluto. The sun will be at 27, Pluto at 26 Capricorn, and the moon will be at 27 of Cancer. So pretty awesome. I do like that we get a dignified moon. a dignified full moon. The emotion is coming up. There's definitely a change when it comes to our ultimate feelings of the matter, and that's pretty exciting too. As it's almost like we're this week is kind of breaking illusion and getting us really towards this chariot moment, which is pretty beautiful, as we are going to ride off with power into somewhat of a new frontier because of a bigger calling, a knowing that we're about to make some of the most amazing changes in our lives to create a life that is so beautiful and abundant. And it's like a lot of life. Taurus is definitely, it brings up a lot of life, like creation, like physical life of creation, whether it's plants, I just like, fixed earth stuff like flowers, plants, animals, humans, of course. This is a time to realize whatever it is that you want to grow can be grown, but you almost have to. For instance, when people grow plants, and they're seasonal sometimes, right? You have to change the soil. Like we could be getting a new shipment of soil into our life right now that's more fertile so that we can grow more things. But this is a moment, I think, this week where we can look at it too and be like, this soil's fine. It'll grow for another year, but you're not going to get the harvest you're looking for. So this is the time to kind of put in that work necessary to change the soil, to upgrade the fertilizer, to get your life ready to grow into the biggest harvest, the biggest plant, the biggest beautiful creation that it can possibly be. But it's not going to be lazy by staying stagnant. This is a time of making moves, because a lot of our internal processing right now of our values, our goals, direction, connection, people is going to get a big look, and nothing can hide with the sun Pluto. Everything will be exposed in our lives to show us exactly where we need to put the new fertilizer and exactly where we need to kind of turn off that system or turn off that game in life, or stop growing these because we're not getting the yield, or we don't like the taste of it, or whatever. This is where we start to see that very clearly. And that's the disillusionment. This is unshackling us, and this is ultimately aiming our arrow in a direction that we want to be most dedicated, most persistent, and most on the path of. And I think that that's going to show people a lot this week, like within yourself. And then it's about really knowing that you can, and not second guessing yourself. So I'm going to pull a couple cards. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was helpful. My little channeled forecast. And yeah, I love you guys very much. This is probably going to be the last weekly I do here. I don't know if I'm going to get next week's weekly out. We'll see how it goes. I got a lot of moving and packing to do, and this is my last week with Sterling, so I want to definitely spend a lot of time with him. So if I don't get weekly content out next week, it's just because I'm refertilizing my soil. All right, we got the Ten of Swords upright. Yeah. I would say that God is sending many angels in your life to definitely shoot arrows into your head about how to see more clearly the direction that you want to go. What is of a new cycle? And instead of getting so stuck or feeling like we've hit rock bottom in an old cycle, it's realizing that one just is done and it needs to be refertilized. It needs to be revamped. There's so much new things out there. We have to be accepting of that. And I do think God kind of shows the way. This one came out too. And I should say viewer discretion advised, because this card is, this deck is so funny. I'm just going to show viewer discretion advised. Hey, Five of Wands. This is not a time to have envy over what someone else has. This is not a time to put people down for what they have. This is a time to accept what you got and your creative potential and make whatever move you need, but know that your power is there, and that it's not about whatever society thinks or whatever anybody else thinks. This is where you gotta realize that the direction and the upward progression of your life is just found within you getting out of situations that hold back your creative potential because there's some sort of conflict of interest with something outside of yourself. You have to know and love yourself 100%. And the final card is the Three of Swords. Yeah, I don't know. I channeled a lot of that this week. I love this week, but it's like those are kind of rough cards. Like, I'll be honest, like those are not like the most happy-go-lucky tarot cards. We're gonna be getting out of a situation that has heartbroken us, whether it's physical, mental, whether we did it to ourselves or whether we can perceive that someone else did it to us. We ultimately have to take responsibility for our heart, our mind, our soul, and the only way to get out of situations that are having us feeling conflicted or upset or controlled or shackled or beat down or the weight of the world is too heavy is to realize that you can make a change. You can do it. You are worth it. Your heart is strong. Your soul is strong. And you got this. And what do we close off with? Seven of Wands in reverse. Time to run away from the stuff in life that's trying to eat your soul. Time to run away from the life this not good. But you know what? I do like Pac-Man too, because when Pac-Man gets the little, the bigger things and he grows, then you can eat the opposition. So there's something about right now where we're all kind of running around to find what's best in life or to find the cherries or to find the amazing, what's going to empower us. And I think that this is where we kind of have to stop running and deal with things so that we can empower ourselves. And then we can turn around and get all the points. Nom, 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 nom. I love you all very much. I hope you enjoyed this. I am sending you all my best. I wish you nothing but the best this week. And much love. Peace.